So stop kidding yourself that fats are benign and it's okay to be obese. Let's talk about reversing diabetes. Normally, here's a muscle cell. Normally, when you eat an apple and glucose shows up in the bloodstream, insulin comes along, opens up the insulin receptors that allow the glucose into the cell and where it can be burned for energy. But if you've been eating a high-fat, animal-based diet, your cells are all clogged up. The fat works its way into the muscle cells, and you accumulate intramyocellular lipid, and that clogs up the enzymes that allow glucose to be brought into the cells. This is not theoretical. Here's what it looks like under the microscope. This is striated muscle. This black stuff is fat in the muscle cells. Intramyocellular lipid should not be there, causing insulin resistance. Here it is under the electron microscope. For you scientists in the group, here's the normal mechanism. Here's sugar out in the bloodstream. Insulin comes along, activates two kinase enzymes. That's what these Ks are. And these kinase enzymes activate the GLUT4 mechanism that pulls sugar into the cell. But if the cells in the mitochondria are all clogged up with fat, that generates free radicals and ceramides that inhibit these enzymes. So insulin knocks on the door, but nobody answers. The sugar is not moved into the cell. It piles up in the bloodstream, causes all sorts of damage. And you can look up the mechanism about intramyocellular lipid. Now, along with that, we got to stop kidding ourselves that obesity is being healthy. The folks in the fat acceptance movements are, oh, it's okay to be obese. You can be healthy and be obese. No, you cannot. Obesity is a state of estrogen excess and inflammation. What's making that obese abdomen obese? Well, first of all, there's two types of fat. Under the skin is the subcutaneous fat produces estrogens. It's the largest estrogen secreting tissue in the body. If you're a guy with a big prostate or a woman with a breast lump, you don't want 30 pounds of estrogen secreting tissues plastered on your abdomen. Leads you all sorts of places you don't want to go. But it's the fat in the abdomen, the wrapped around the intestine, the visceral fat, that causes the real damage. Visceral fat puts out inflammatory cytokines that drive inflammatory reactions throughout the body. Obesity is a state of inflammation. There's no getting away from that. It should not be accepted. It should be melted away with a plant-based diet. Now, this now loops back to the diabetes. Here we are with that clogged up muscle cell. And this is the liver cell as well. Here's the intramyocellular lipid interfering with the enzymes on the inside. But here comes those cytokines from the obese abdomen interfering with the insulin receptors on the outside. So no wonder so many obese people develop type 2 diabetes. Their insulin receptors are all clogged up. You want to reverse this in disease reversal? Get on a whole food plant-based diet, start melting away that fat. The muscles will burn this fat in here for energy. And the insulin receptors open up, the cytokines go away, the insulin receptors work just fine, and the type 2 diabetes goes away. It's a reversible disease. Somebody needs to tell our patients with this that it's preventable and reversible. This young woman should never develop type 2 diabetes if she keeps eating a whole food plant-based diet. We should raise our kids like this, and they'll be lean, healthy, and stay out of the clutches of people like me. This is absolutely reversible. Don't have time to go into it, but studies show that plant-based diets work even better than the Diabetes Association diet. It improves hemoglobin A1C, body weight. Even after a year and a half, they're doing better with weight, A1C, bad lipids. All of us who practice lifestyle medicine have patients like Jim, used to look like this, 100 pounds overweight, on insulin, whole food plant-based diet, off his insulin, running marathons. This is what we should strive for. And finally, in artery disease, the cardiologists think, once you get artery disease, everybody gets stents, everybody gets surgery. That's irreversible. Relentlessly progressive is the term they use. We got to stop thinking that clogged arteries always mean statins and stents and surgery. These are inflammatory lesions. It's the red tide that's injuring this endothelial lining, and the plaque is the response to it. But just putting a stent in here does not put out that inflammatory fire. This will, a whole food plant-based diet, especially the dark green leafy vegetables, saturate into the walls of the arteries, neutralize the free radicals, and melt away the plaque, as Dr. Esselstyn showed us in his elegant studies. And here is the left anterior descending arteries in someone's heart. The dye column from the angiogram should look this wide all the way down, but this rat-eaten section here, these are atherosclerotic plaques encroaching into the dye column. This person went on a whole food plant-based diet. 22 months later, soups and salads and greens flow into these arteries, melting away the plaque. This artery turns into this artery. Same patient, same artery. This is the power of disease reversal through a whole food plant-based diet. And arteries all over the body open up, much to the delight of the owner of the arteries and the people who live with them. If you do not know the work of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn, and you've got people, loved ones with clogged arteries, get his book, follow his advice to the letter, and you will reap the benefits. And the same thing, if you want to avoid Alzheimer's disease, the same thing that causes Alzheimer's and artery disease are the same. So let's stop talking about obesity being healthy. It's not. Here I have three I've grouped together. Stop kidding yourself about drinking alcohol, not drinking enough water, and cheating yourself on sleep. These all age the brain. Nothing good comes from drinking alcohol, not drinking enough water, and cheating yourself on sleep. It ages you and causes brain shrinkage. Neglecting healthy movement. Man, we are animals. We have to move. And you don't want to go into your old age with muscles that are so atrophied you can't get out of the chair of the nursing home. Those people die on a very predictable level. You need to keep your joints moving, keep your muscles strong. Do something that gets you moving, whether it's yoga or strength training or just get outside and walk. It's absolutely essential. And the last several ones, we're losing our connection to nature. We're suffering from nature deficit disorder, and it withers our souls, and it takes the happiness and the direction out of our lives. It's so important to get out in something green every day and look out the window for 5 minutes. Find something natural, get a house plant on your desk, but keep your connection to nature. It's absolutely essential. And the last two is holding on to anger and resentment. Stop kidding yourself that that's any way to live your life. It's a poison. These are toxic, angry, poisonous emotions that eventually poison you, not the person you're angry at. And feeling hopeless about the state of the world and being in fear about it is also a way to cause disease. If you want to reverse disease, the truth will set you free.